Okay, let's talk about the Tinder Swindler. Tinder Swindler. And I'm sure if you try to say it yourself, you probably said it the same way. Don't deny it. You probably did. Okay. Anyway, thanks for joining me here on one of my podcasting. So let's go ahead and talk about this guy. So the stories come out, and there are women that have accused him of fraud, which have become memes online, and experts say it's a way of coping. So Netflix put out the documentary on February 2nd, The Tinder Swindler. The documentary told the story of three women who said a man named Simon Leviev scammed them out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, which Leviev has denied. It's become Netflix's most popular movie of the month and has been watched by 110 million hours so far. I hate when they always put the hours thing on here. So it sparked a wave of social media discussion, and the conversation quickly devolved into a series of memes with people across platforms making jokes. So let's look at the memes real quick, and you tell me if you like them or not. So starting off with, let's go and look at, please, can someone borrow me $30,000 urgently? My enemies are after me. Okay. I don't know if that was not too funny, but we'll try that. Okay, next. My enemies are after me versus my father once cut me out. So there's Anna Delvey that's also a Tinder swindler. You know, how do you get yourself suckered into that? Well, there's always been times where people get into that kind of thing, and I'll never really understand it. But, you know, when I see these kind of stories, it does kind of boggle the mind on the kind of scams that people could still get away with. Now, I did get scammed, working for Uber, where I lost some money, and that's doing the whole codes thing. But it was one of those where it's like everything was on the phone, and that was it. And then using messages, SMS messages, to kind of play out and completely distract me from one thing from the other because of the whole thought process. And a lot of the people like me also got scammed. But there's one thing to be said about getting scammed like this because of the positioning, the way that these two are able to make themselves look in front of others. More along, there's also that one friend that says, I'll pay you back, the friend blank. And there's others that are in here. One story real quick, I'll just drop in here where it says, well, a billionaire boyfriend asked me to take out a loan so he could fight his enemies, and I did. And the TikToker then makes the point and says, well, just puts that look in her face. That's all. Well, anyway, let's go into the story itself. So he is now banned from dating apps. And so since the release of the documentary, Tinder has confirmed to multiple outlets that Leviev has been banned from the platform, conducting internal investigations and confirming that Simon Leviev is no longer an active member on Tinder under any of his known aliases. And he's also banned from other dating groups, including Tinder's parent company, Match Group, including Match.com, Plenty of Fish, Hinge, and OkCupid. Sounds like me. I've been banned just because. It's because I, kind of spammed the platform when I was trying to talk to different girls. I didn't really care about how the platforms were working. It just didn't matter to me. So now we know about the story. And the lesson that's said in here, and this is according to Killa Kib, who writes with InsideHook.com, the lesson is don't give money to men, especially not seemingly rich ones. And in the light of the revelations, I deserve credit for making it very clear to prospective matches that I want them to give me their money up front instead of trying to con them out of it. If anyone needs me, I'll be impatiently waiting my long overdue apology from Tinder. So there's that part to go off of. And how this actually becomes a thing, I don't know. But I have not watched the documentary. At some point, I'll probably watch it, see what it's all about. But I mean, that's online dating for you. It's the sad state of affairs of online dating. That's the problem. And so here we are continuing these problems. And this is where online dating has changed the way we fall in love. And the Tinder swindlers are making this also very much a case of like, well, you're just creating this big story that's just going to make people want to do less and less online dating and care about doing it at the same time. That's it. So the story from Donna Ferguson and The Guardian, she writes about this and says, falling in love today tracks a different trajectory. Quote, this is from Dr. Marie Bergstrom, sociologist, which I believe I've actually quoted her in previous stories on dating here on one of my podcasting. Quote, there is a third narrative about love, this idea that someone is out there for you, someone made for you, a soulmate. And you just need to find that person. The idea is very compatible with online dating. It pushes you to be proactive. Go and search for that person. You shouldn't just sit at home and wait for that person. As a result, we think about love, the way we depict it in films and books, The way we imagine love works is changing, and there's much more focus on the idea of a soulmate. And other ideas of falling in love are falling away. And it's this kind of thing that creates Tinder swindlers. Tinder swindlers. Can't even say it right. So she argues the nature of dating has been fundamentally transformed by online platforms. Well, it absolutely has. No more personal interaction. There's not like that anymore. In the past, for example, a personal ad to find a partner was a marginal practice that was stigmatized because it did turn dating into a specialized insular activity, which I did the personal ads and I did a great job with them. But now online dating is so popular that suggests studies it is the third most common way to meet a partner in Germany and the US. So it used to be weird, stigmatized, and taboo, and now it's being a very normal way to meet people. And having popular spaces that are specifically created for privately meeting partners is a really radical historical break with courtship traditions. So dating is also now, in the least, a domestic activity. Instead of meeting new people in public places, users of online dating platforms meet partners and start chatting to them from the privacy of their own homes. And the thing is, when you're dating, you're not dressed up. You're not, putting any kind of expectations up front. So when you're meeting somebody, it's not that choice meeting where you get to meet them outside and they get to see you in person, the personal interaction, and then confronting for the date proposal to go out. And that doesn't happen. Those kind of things, change a lot of things. So anyway, the first and most obvious consequence of this is that it makes access to casual sex much easier. The first and most obvious consequence is that it has made access easier, and relationships formed on online dating platforms tend to become more sexual faster than other relationships. A French survey said that 56% of couples started having sex less than a month after they meet online. A third first have sex when they've both known each other less than a week. Is that good too? I guess. Because in the online dating promise is the idea that, you're getting to meet somebody, you're in that long time interaction. And then maybe for some people that really click out, really, match up and gel, then the idea is, okay, then I already know you enough. I spent the amount of time I would have spent dating you. And I'm saying to myself, okay, then, let's just go ahead and do it. That's the idea. On online dating platforms, you see people meeting a lot of sexual partners. It's easier to have a short-term relationship, not just because it's easier to engage with partners, but because it's easier to disengage too. And she thinks that this is particularly significant because of the double standards still apply to women who sleep around, pointing that women's sexual behavior is still judged differently and more severely by men. And by using online dating platforms, women can engage in sexual behavior because it's discreet. Because then you're not seeing the person on the street and other people do not know. So you could go into somebody's apartment, house, and they won't even know the latter. Because women want discretion. When they're able to go ahead and do something where they can be, there's a book I'm reading right now where they talk about the fact that women like the discretion of going out on vacations and being the kind of woman that they would never be back home. Because nobody's going to find them accountable. They're not going to be responsible for their actions. So they decide to go and sleep around with some, local yokel in Brazil or, Europe or wherever they go. They can just go on and do that. And that's not going to make any difference at all. That's what we're talking about. In the future, she predicts that these platforms will play a bigger and even more important role in the way couples meet, reinforcing the view that you should separate your sex life from the rest of your life. Quote, now we're in a situation where a lot of people meet their casual partners online. I think that could very easily turn into the norm, and it's considered not very appropriate to interact and approach partners at a friend's place at a party. There are platforms for that. You should do that elsewhere. I think we're going to see a different kind of commitment of sex. Is it better relationships? I don't know if it is. But nothing's being considered by Dr. Beckstrom about how much it is to go ahead and find somebody that you match with online, because it's such a visual medium and only on the pictures that are being put out there. It's a different thing when you're meeting somebody in person. Realistically, it's just not the same. So online dating, I've already lost the interest in. It really does disappoint quite a bit. But I think if you're also doing it where you find sites that are that they force you to pay a pretty good premium for it. I mean, I've learned that's where women will like to go, younger women especially. When they know that a man will already invest pretty well into a premium platform, then they'll go for it. And that's how they meet certain people. So you let me know what you think about that. Put something in the comments if you like. And let me know if you like the new video version of What About Podcasting. Hey, I'm working on it. I'm trying to make it better. I did some work on my webcam here to make it look better. Got the green screen going really nice. It looks good. So you tell me what you think. Now, of course, I'm not putting myself in a nice chair. I'm putting myself in a comfortable chair, by the way. This is a nice little lazy boy that I have. So I don't get myself like in a nice high top kind of deal. And I'm not putting myself behind some kind of background, whatever. I do it like this because it's easy and it's easy to do. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'll talk to you next time.